Okay. We go through the disclaimer. Welcome to Garden of the Spirit, a class studying apples from the orchard. This class meets in Long Meadow, Massachusetts, and is held in memory of Malka Rus Bas Moshe Margaret Vogel of blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contain selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Vayeitzei Gloria, Vayeitzei Gloria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. Okay, so we are on I think we stopped at the top of 161.
Second paragraph.
No,
Second paragraph. You mark with a pencil?
No, mark it with a sticky note.
with a now.
I put a sticky note right where we're supposed to begin.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
A bookmark for the page and a sticky note for the place on the page, so I know exactly where we are.
Leave like a little piece of schnitzel there.
Quiet.
And let's go here.
Not so kosher for Pesach.
Well, you can, it's matzah.
So yeah, last week we said that Yaakov left Beersheba and went to Haran. And that means that the divine energy leaves. That means that divine energy leaves its high source. I think we said it was Bina, and it goes to Haran. Haran implies constriction, constricted, and the name Elohim is constricted, and the neck is constricted. Let's see. Let's do this. Okay. And we said that the divine energy is undeveloped. Also, means the light is constricted. All the name Elohim. And I hope everybody read the article from James Clear about having limits, and that having limits is really the way that growth happens. In short, I printed it, but I don't think the whole thing printed. So but just it was amazing. It was so close to what we learn here that I wanted to share. Let's see, where did we stop here? Usually I write in the date at the place where we stopped.
Keep going.
We did which way?
We did go down. We did this one. I think
Right there, yeah.
We're starting right there, I think.
Number
14.
14.
14. That sounds good. Because we did the 182.
Did I stop putting in the dates?
Yeah,
Oh,
right. But
we just had 13 and we had it in the book. So
Yeah. I used to put in the dates.
I know. So I'll put the date in today.
Should they have a day?
I think it's 13.
13.
Okay.
That's today.
Okay. So one way to picture the spheros is with chesed and netzach. We learned this where they forms triangles or triads. So that chesed and netzach, the first and fourth of the emotions, are on the right. Gvura and hod, the second and fifth, are on the left. Tiferes and Yesod are in the center. They are the third and sixth.
Yeah.
So right, left, center, right, left, center. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Now these form three axes. a right axis, a center axis, and a left axis.
Hmm.
No, do that again. The right axis, a left axis, and a center axis. Total of 3 axes. The 7 names Havaya that we talked about pass through the throat to the 3 axes of the body. Remember that the Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Nesach, Hod, Yesod are basically the torso. They form the torso. The torso with the extremities. Yaakov went to Haran means the light passed through the throat. So Haran, we said, implies constriction. Haran equals 258, and Haran, obviously, the place where Yaakov was traveling to, and Garon, which means throat, is 259. No, I think we'll get rid of the last line. We're gonna get rid of this line. Don't didn't see it. Okay.
We didn't see that line?
You didn't see it. It's not there.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so that is very straightforward. Okay. Alan, would you like to begin on 161 now?
I'd love to. Now it is known that these names of Havaya that manifest the mature mentality of Zeranpin spread via the 3 axes throughout the body of Zeranpin. In this process, they pass through the throat, which is termed Haran, which is formed from the 3 names Elokim that manifest the immature mentality of Zeranpin, as above. In addition, the Yesod of Abba, which is termed Yaakov because the parts of this name will develop out of it, passes through it. This is the mystical meaning of and went to Haran. For Haran signifies the 3 names Elokim.
Okay.
The word to
Hold
Haran,
on.
the word
Yeah,
to,
go ahead.
the word to Haran is in Hebrew, one word. The word for Haran with a hey attached as a suffix.
So Haran is the name of the place, and in Hebrew they add the letter hey at the end, Harana, and it becomes to Haran. And 15, the extra letter hey at the end of Haran, Harana, is for the 5 letters of the name Elokim. Hey being the gematria of 5. Our rabbis also say it was called Haran because it aroused Hashem's anger. The word Haran is also the word for anger.
Hmm.
And they say it's called Haran either because it aroused Hashem's anger, because it was the focus of Hashem's anger. Again, a reference to the severities of the name Elokim. They go to the next part. Go ahead, Alan.
The additional hey in the word to Haran signifies the 5 letters of Elokim. The numerical value of hey is 5. The meaning of the word Haran as well indicates immature or constricted consciousness, for it means anger, which is caused by severe stages of judgment, which are called Elokim. The name Elokim indicates Hashem's attribute of judgment and justice, which incites his anger.
Okay. So all these references here to Elokim, all these references to the divine energy being constricted through the throat, through Haran, the name Elokim, and that's what we have here. Now we have a verse in Tehillim, which is interesting. says, I am wearied by my outcry. My throat is parched. My eyes pined, waiting for my God. Or waiting or longing for my God, awaiting my God. And the two words there, nichar groni, my throat is parched. I forgot to look. The word for parched here is very, very unusual. Not even sure. Not even sure what. If it's definitely a passive verb.
I think about like the ground in the desert where the water has been sucked out of it.
Okay, I'm looking at the word. I'm looking at the word. If it's which verb structure it is. Okay, and that's something that I know pretty well, and I'm not sure about this one.
Hmm.
So parched means it gets hot and dry, which aligns with the idea that the throat is a symbol of Elohim. Here it says my throat is parched, that I'm longing for God. But the idea that is parched means that it's missing moisture. And it's also this idea of Elohim, of constriction, of lacking. And similarly, the term in the Torah for getting angry is actually heating the nostril. Before we said the charon is charon af. The word for getting angry is charon af. Or the Torah always says vayichar. That's maybe what the word here nichar means. So vayichar af. We find numerous times in the Torah. And Moshe got angry, Hashem got angry, but Vayichar Af actually means the Af is a nostril. Vayichar Af means the nostril was what, guys? Inflamed?
Well, the flaring of your nostrils. That's
What
where
does the word flare mean?
when you get angry, girl, you know.
Flared means to open up.
Yeah. You ever see the cartoon where the bull gets mad and it pushes out the out of his nose and it gets very angry. It comes out right out of his nose.
So what I want to know is, let's do this.
People do that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people do that.
Flare, I think, means to be like spread.
Yeah, spread open up.
A fire, a blaze light used unsteady glaring light, a sudden outburst, spreading outward.
Yeah.
A weekly hit fly ball. Never heard of that one.
Baseball
Yeah,
sign.
a flare to the outfield. You hit a flare, which is
That's what it says.
yeah, you hit the ball
Not
out.
what we want to use, I don't think.
It's a soft hit.
Yep, that's what it says.
Yeah.
Inflame, to excite, to make more heated or violent. And that matches. To make more heated or violent. More heated.
We say glass blowing would flare the end of the glass, meaning we'd open the end up to make it wider.
Yeah, like a flare. A flare brightens up, shoots out, and explodes up like a flare.
Yeah. Okay. So here, what the word I'm looking for is inflamed nostril. Vayichar af literally means that the nostril gets heated.
Yeah.
And it's a euphemism for getting angry.
Angry.
Yes.
Or it's a
Because usually one goes with the other. When you flare your nostril, it's a sign of getting angry.
Angry, yeah.
Okay. So the word for parched that we said is the same word, nichar. And the word for getting angry is vayichar, or charon, is anger. The word for parched is nichar, which is charon, scrambled.
Mhm.
And then nun chesresh or chesresh nun. As we said before, its gematria is 258, close to garon, throat 59. For gematria, it's the same thing. In other words, this pasuk has a number of references to constricting the divine energy. The context, because it says that my eyes pined waiting for God. So there's an absence of divine energy or a deficiency of divine energy. The letters of the word nichar, parched. The throat. And the gematria of nichar. So here we've just identified 4 different references. Tim, do you want to continue?
Sure. So, do we start with the meaning of the word Haran?
Yes.
Yes, the meaning of the word Haran as well indicates immature or constricted consciousness, for it means anger, which is caused by severe stages of judgment, which are called Elohim. The name Elohim indicates God's attribute of judgment and justice, which incites his anger. This is the mystical meaning of the verse, my throat is parched, literally grew angry. That's from Psalms. Okay. For since the throat expresses the name Elohim, becomes hot and parched, just as the idiom for anger in Hebrew is heating of the nostril. Also, the word for parched in this verse, nichar, comprises the same letters as the word for Haran, and its numerical value is also naturally that of the word for throat, garon, with a kolel. It is all one. The char is nun chet resh, 50 plus 8 plus 200, 258. Haran is chet resh nun, 8 plus 200 plus 50, 258. Garon. Gimel resh vav nun, 3 plus 200 plus 6 plus 50, 259.
Yeah, and I somehow left out of the notes, but it said before that Haran indicates immature or constricted consciousness because it means anger. When someone gets angry, it's because they can't, they're constricted, they're narrow, and they can't tolerate something else that's going on. And so anger is similar in some ways to constricted consciousness. Okay, now we go to 17. Hashem's name Elohim can be expanded, just like we expand the name Havaya, expanded spelling. We can also have expanded spelling for the name Elohim. 4 of the 5 letters have fixed spellings when they are expanded. The Aleph is 111. The Lamed is 74. The 4th letter Yud is 20, and the Mem is 80. So Yud and Mem together are 100, 211, I think it's 285 so far. The 4 letters are 285. The middle letter, Hey, has 3 ways it can be expanded. Hey Aleph, Hey, or Hey Yud. They're all 3 correct. Whose gematrias, respectively, are 6, 10, and 15. Each of these, aside from giving a different total to the expanded spelling of Elohim, represents a different facet of Elohim. Just like the Havaya of 72 represents one idea, and Havaya of 63 represents another idea, and Havayas of 52 and 45 each have their own thing that they represent. So here too, each one of these represents a different facet of Elohim. In this case, we do not get into the numbers and exactly what the differences are, just that there are differences. There are 3 differences in Elohim. The highest, of course, is Hey Yud. This corresponds to the level known, because it's the highest number, 15. This corresponds to the level known as Leah. The level called Leah is, we usually speak about Bina. And the world of thought. The lowest is Hey Aleph, which has a total of only 6. This corresponds to the level known as Rachel, which is usually Malchus, and known as the world of speech. Leah is the realm of thought, and Rachel is the realm of speech. So it's much lower, but it's also much more expressive. The level between is spelled Hey, Hey, and this is corresponding to the level of known as Yaakov. In general, Yaakov is Ze'er Anpin, but specifically, he is the third Midah in Ze'er Anpin, or the third sphere in Ze'er Anpin, known as Tiferes. And I think we're going to have later, I don't remember which chapter it was, but I remember when we learned it the first time that it had, it explained how Yaakov was sought by Bina, but Yaakov himself sought Rachel, sought Malchus. And it was right here. So we will get into that hopefully in a few weeks, maybe in a month. That is maybe chapter 3. Yeah, maybe in chapter 3. But it's important not to get caught up in the names, in Rachel and Leah and Yaakov and who their personalities were, just to think about them more as the level that are called by their names. Okay, Jim, do you want to go on?
Now, as we have explained elsewhere, these 3 names, Elohim, are the 3 ways of spelling out this name with the letter Yud, with the letter Aleph, and with the letter Hey. So root letter Aleph, spelling out Aleph Lamed Pei, root letter Lamed, Lamed Mem Dalet, root letter Hey, Hey Yud, Hey Aleph, Hey Hey, root letter Yud, Yud Vav Dalet, root letter Mem, Mem Mem. The name Elohim that is spelled out with the letter Yud is first, and is manifest in the parts of Leah, which is situated above. The last is the one that's spelled out with the letter Hey, and that's manifest in the parts of Rachel, which is situated below. The middle one is spelled out with the letter Aleph and is manifest in the parts of Yaakov. In the secondary array of parts of Fim, the parts of Yaakov, the emotion, couples with the 2 female parts of Fim, which is Leah, thought, and Rachel, speech.
So we spoke last time that there are 6 main partsufim, and this was at the top of 159, that there are 6 main partsufim, but then there are also secondary, less known partsufim profiles, and one of them we said was called Yaakov. Okay, 18 and 19. Yaakov can join with a level called Leah, which is higher, and with the level called Rachel, which is lower than Yaakov. Yaakov's name is based on the word Akev, which means heel, and whose gematria is 172. 172 is twice Elohim, 86. For the Elohim at the level of Leah, it is twice Elohim. 1 is for the Elohim at the level of Leah, and 1 for the Elohim at the level of Rachel. So we have 2 Elohims, for Yaakov to join with Rachel, and for Yaakov to join with Leah. And that is 86 times 2 equals 172, which is the word Akev, the base of Yaakov's name. Gershon, would you like to continue?
If I just the name Elohim, is that where we
Hold on a second. 186. How do you get those numbers?
86 times 2.
Elohim is 86.
Yeah.
2 Elohims equal 172.
That I got.
172 is the base of Yaakov's name. Yaakov's name is Akev. The base of Yaakov's name is Akev, which means heel.
which is 172.
Yes.
But Yaakov's name is 182. Right?
182. Right.
Okay.
Hold that thought. Don't lose it.
All right.
Okay. Gershon, since
Yaakov in the middle of the three, he encompasses both of them, the higher and the lower Partsufim. Therefore, the numerical value of Yaakov is 10 more than twice that of Elohim. That means that of the word for heel, Akev, Yaakov without the Yud. Yaakov, Yud, Ain, Kuf, base, 10 plus 70 plus 100 plus 2, 182. Akev, Ain, Kuf, base, 70 plus 100 plus 2, 172. And Elohim, Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, Mem, 1 plus 30 plus 5 plus 10 plus 40 equals 86 times 2 is 172.
okay, and what about the 10? Don't worry, we have something for the extra 10 in Yaakov.
Okay.
Yaakov adds a yud to the word Akev. Yud stands for the 10 letters of Leah, Yaakov, and Rachel. Leah, Yaakov, and Rachel have a total of 10 letters, and
Okay.
that's the extra yud.
Okay.
The end.
Got to finish.
The extra Yud in Jacob's corresponds to the 10 letters in all the names of these Partsufim, indicating how he comprises them all. There are 3 letters in Leah, Lamed, Aleph, Hey, 4 in Jacob, Yud, Ain, Kuf, Beis, and 3 in Rachel, Reis, Het, Lamed, giving 10.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Mhm.
So we put it, I guess we tied everything together. Tied everything together and showed just how a simple pasuk that Yaakov leaves Beersheba and goes to Haran is has so much meaning in it. We find so many hints, but also very simply, he's leaving Beersheba, which is in Israel, a prominent city in Israel, and going to Haran, which was not a godly place, just like the divine energy that leaves its lofty place and goes down into the world. In a nutshell.
So the constrictions are going to help him grow, I guess.
Did they?
Well, eventually.
You know what I keep thinking through this whole thing is they say the husband is the head of the house, but the wife is the neck.
A what?
But the wife, she's the neck, right? So she's all the Gevura and the constrictions, and it works.
Well, why would you go from Beersheba to a place of anger? We know the story, so in the end, it's all good, all's well that ends well. But
because we live in the world, and we're supposed to be in this physical place,
and overcome,
and we're not. We're supposed to change this physical place and make this place refined, and that's the purpose of us being here. So you can't just stay up in that blissful state. You can't just stay in Ratzu. You got to go to Shuv.
Yeah.
Otherwise you get stuck.
Kirsten, can you be specific about how in the end it turned out?
Well, he married his sisters and had 12 kids or 11, correct?
12.
13.
13,
no.
actually.
13, thank you.
Binyamin, where was Binyamin born?
He was born on the way back. But he
Okay.
ended up with 12 kids in Haran, but he ended up with a family of 13. Go ahead. What else?
And we learned that when he crosses the Yabok River and struggles with the angel, blah, 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 he becomes Israel. So ends well, I guess.
What does that mean?
Well, he left with his shirt and he came back with a multitude.
He
And,
came back with immense wealth.
yeah.
In practical terms, he came back with a family, married, wives, with a bunch of kids, and immense wealth. That the Torah uses the term "Vayifrat Haish me'od me'od." He was excessively, he exploded in wealth. The Torah uses the word "Vayifrat" means he burst, he exploded, like Hashem told him in the blessing, "Uforatzta yom avakedma." You will explode to the west, to the east, north, and south.
Mhm.
And that's indeed what happened in practical terms, in financial terms. He was immensely wealthy on these Jacob sheep. So financially, he was beyond imagination, and he grew a family. Not only that, but a family that was the foundation of the Jewish people.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, he got his name changed to Yisrael, which means that the name Yaakov didn't suit him anymore. He how do you say, he changed. He was like a new person. So until he was 63 years old, he was I'll say it, he was a mama's boy, living at home, studying Torah.
Yeah.
He had his meals made for him. He has his laundry done. He doesn't have to go work. Okay, and he's doing nothing, just sitting, studying Torah all day. And then from 63 to 77, he spent 14 years studying in yeshiva at Shemin Ever, which was also full-time study. And so that's 77 years in his life. And now they tell him, okay, we're throwing you out of yeshiva. You've got to go work for a living now. And you're starting off with zero. So when he had the silver spoon in his mouth, he was just there. He's studying Torah. I'm not going to belittle what he was, but we don't, there's nothing that sticks out. And he's the name Yaakov, which means the heel. But 20 years later, when he left Lavan, that is what built him into a person. That's what built his character. And living with Lavan and not copying him. I'm going to give you an example. We all know what it's like to have someone in your house or someone at work that's on your case. And for example, they don't miss an opportunity to correct you or to criticize you. Okay? And it's very frustrating. And you know what it's like when the other person messes up or does the same mistake that you do, that you get corrected on, and you now have an opportunity to correct them. And what a good feeling that is. Aha. Now you're going to teach them a lesson. Now they're going to see what it's like, so they'll know and they're not going to do it anymore, right? Doesn't look like
No.
it. But you have to say it because they always do it to you just for spite, just to make a point. You have to say, hey, you know what? You used the wrong word there. Or you you misspelled, you made a typo. Or
That's
something.
marriage, that's marriage. But if you're a smart person, you keep your mouth shut.
Not that smart.
I say it could be in your house, it could be at work, it could be a friend, it could be the guy that you drink with or that you play cards with, or a girl. So we all know what that's like. And you all know how tempting, and you have to say it, okay? And so we're taught about Yaakov, that Yaakov did not turn into Lavan. When it says that he didn't copy Lavan's ways, it does, I believe, this is the world according to Chaim, that it's not just that Lavan worshipped idols, and Yaakov was there 20 years and he didn't worship idols. Okay, it's more than that, because if you're around a group I guess there's some truth to that. You hang around with a group that does stuff, you're also, it's tempting also to do it. If you're around the group that's always using profanity, so you'll drop some yourself. But to stand out and not to do it, to be cheated over and over by Lavan. He was
And not cheat him
100
back.
times. And
And
he
not
never
cheat-
said, I'm going to cheat him back.
He never cheated him back. He didn't do that.
No, no. So that he had
Outsmart him,
opportunities, but to always take that and think
But he didn't
that,
cheat him.
and I give the example of what it's like to have that person who's always correcting you, and you for once don't, or they criticize the way you drive, and then you have an opportunity and you keep your and of course you're going to say something. It takes immense willpower, and in Yaakov changed in those 20 years. That's where he built character. He changed with especially like you talked about with the challenges, with being outside of Israel, away from home, away from his parents. Mother wasn't cooking for him and so on. Then he came back and Hashem said to him, before you were the heel, you were Yaakov. Now you are Yisrael. Yisrael means upright, straight. It means the head. It has a bunch of meanings. It means that you've struggled and overcome and defeated. So Elohim, I don't know how they translate it. You wrestled with men and angels. That's what the Hashem said to him, I think.
Yes.
Or the angel said to him, because you have
And
wrestled.
The angel said to him, "You have wrestled with men and angels."
Yeah, with men and with angels, with men and angels, and so, but the wrestled is it's not really an accurate translation.
Yeah.
The literal translation turns the word noble
Mhm.
or into a verb.
Mhm.
You have nobled. You had class.
Mhm.
It means you've shown class or you've been more noble over the angels and man.
Mhm.
So that's the constriction that we find here, and which brought out it's a great power transformation in him. If anyone would like to continue comment further on that, so the floor is open. But also, I do owe you just to what we discussed last week, and there was a conversation about the world and the worlds, and I said that we can put that in the parking lot. We can park it in the parking lot. So now's the opportunity. So I think what triggered the discussion was when I said that our world, our universe, is the only physical world out of all of creation. That we are the only physical part of creation. By that I mean our entire universe. You want to go whatever 13 billion years and change that way, whatever 13 billion years, the size of the universe.
In light years, not
Is
just
what?
light years, not years.
Thank you. 13 billion light years that they say is the universe. This is the only physical part of creation, and that's what I said. So, do you guys want to pick up, or do you want me to continue?
I don't buy that.
No. And the dispute was that among those 26 billion radios, we cannot be the only conscious being.
Yeah, it was about consciousness.
Yeah, so it was
What does that mean,
statistically
consciousness? Seriously, I'm not Steve.
able to realize the enormity, the wonder of Hashem, things like that. Not just to be in the moment and do whatever you need to do as a conscious being, but realizing, oh my goodness, this is a wonderful world or whatever. So people, entities that are able to, realize things or thought, capable of thought, or wherever we're going to define consciousness. So statistically, yes. In practice, we haven't seen them, and probably if that's the size of the universe, probably the chances are small to encounter another conscious being. So that was.
I mean, thinking and feeling it can't be just it, because animals think and feel. So So it's a little bit more than thinking and feeling, which humans have. We can follow, and it is consciousness of Hashem at that point. So we can either follow or we can't. I mean, it's not. It's a very small, narrow form of free will. So that's what we got. And I just can't imagine other that we're it who can do that. That's all. Just can't imagine.
I think it's a limitation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to say that in the vastness and expanse of the universe that he created,
Mhm.
all there is this little ant farm of Earth, and that we're so important to think that there are no other beings, there is no other form of consciousness, and we're it. I can't buy that, because then you're limiting God. You're saying the omnipotence, the vastness, the eternity, the infinity of Hashem is just for us? No, don't buy it.
Before Chaim said that in our universe. Now we can think of the fact: are there parallel universes? That would be something different, and maybe there are other beings in a parallel universe. In parallel universes, we're talking about within our universe.
True, but the universe is big enough to believe that there could be other conscious beings, and I guess it's part of faith. If you have faith in Hashem, I have a discussion about our ethnocentricity, Jewish people ethnocentricity, and when we read this Arizal, I'll say maybe there is something about us, correct? And that's just one issue, but what Rudy is saying is that we're not it, correct? This planet is not it, and I would tend to agree, but we don't have proof. We don't communicate with other conscious beings yet or ever. Chances are. So that gave me a little parallel between the discussion I had with this rabbi, because he says, yes, we are it. We, the Jews, are it. We're different. So he said, so you watch movies, yeah, and do you look in Wikipedia, see if they're Jewish or not, which I do all the time. So why you do that, correct? Saying there is something special about us, and we are it, correct? We got the Torah, nobody else wanted. And so when Rudy is saying that we're not it, we cannot be it because of the enormity of Hashem, gives me a parallel about this ethnocentricity, or this would be the planet centricity, that we are it, we're the only conscious beings in the whole universe. And I read lots of science fiction where there are multiverses, and I enjoy those books, but and it's product of our imagination, the mankind imagination, to believe that there could be other parallel universes, which is lots of fun in literature.
Lots of what?
In literature, science fiction. There's this guy, this British guy, Michael Moorhead or someone, Moorcock, something like that. He's living in Texas. I hope he's still alive. And he's fantastic. He's from the 70s, keep going. I don't like his fantasy. I like his science fiction. And he proposes, it's lots of fun. His literature, just jumping from one parallel universe to the other. But as to say, Rudy, yes, I don't have proof, but it's a faithful act to think that we're not it. We're not the only conscious beings that could be.
If we are the most intelligent people in existence, we're in trouble.
Well, there was something that I read this morning on the Chabad.org that I thought it is really apropos. And there was a rabbi, I think 4th century, and he says, you're not as important as you think you are, and the world isn't as bad as you fear it is. So it was a very nice little thing to come around.
So going back to what I said that that this is the only physical existence, is our universe. And what I hear that some of you mentioned is that you can't believe we're the only consciousness. Maybe 100, I'm sorry, maybe a million light years over there, there's another conscious world, or or a million light years in the other direction. So I didn't say that I didn't say that there aren't
Other
other
conscious, yeah.
life or life forms or consciousness in different places, if that's what you mean. What I said
Yes.
was that our whole universe is the only physical part of creation.
Mhm.
There is not a physical parallel universe, somewhere else doing something else.
It's big
But
enough.
I still don't even buy, I'm sorry, with all due respect, I don't buy that either.
That there's another physical.
Yes, there are probably several.
But if there's another physical universe, it would be part of the physical of creation.
Correct.
It would be right here with us, wherever it is. It would be at our level.
We're going into semantics.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying what's according to
If
the stuff. I'm not saying for myself.
if a sanctum is created and we live in that sanctum and there is a creator, the creator does not necessarily share with those within the sanctum that another sanctum exists. Because then you're
None of our business.
it's none of our business. You got enough to do in your sanctum. Keep yourself occupied and do good, and you'll be rewarded. But beyond that, who's to say? Who's to know?
Correct.
If the scientists talk about how life came to be by crazy statistics, that it's almost impossible, but it's a creator, so the chances of life being somewhere else go shoot through the roof, don't they?
Yes.
Right, but I'm not even positing what I'm saying based on science or theory. I'm basing it just based on a belief system.
Faith, yeah.
You believe in Hashem and the omnipotence and the greatness and the vastness and the eternity and the infinity of our Creator. Anything is possible. Anything. And in the moment you say we are the only physical domain, you're saying, oh, Hashem, we're it.
We're his best dream. We're the best thing he could come.
Oh boy.
Basically, what
It's a
Tal is
nightmare.
saying is whatever we see as physical, like astronomers, whatever that's it. Is vast enough to encompass who knows. So if infinite, it's not infinite. So it's semantic. Whatever it is.
But how do you can't limit Hashem's creation through your own brain or mouth. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the real problem here. So once we start doing it, we become idolatrous in the process of limiting.
Well, we're not saying that Hashem can't. We're saying that according to the learnings that we have, according to the teachings and traditions, this is it. Now, in a sense, you might think of it as that there are parallel universes. And this is what we learn about Seder Ishtalshalos, the process of creation, that the Atzilus, Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya. But as far as physical, this is the only physical existence. Encompassing our entire universe.
Whatever it is.
13 billion light years.
What is this?
Exactly.
What does this mean? I mean, this itself is a fine type of limitation, as I hear it. And
Hashem created limitation.
Lower Asiya. That's all we know.
Well,
but Hashem did create limitation.
I understand that, but and it's important to think about the process of creation in this way. But to say that this is Hashem's creation, to me, is a little bit of a stretch.
I think the limitations that you refer to can also be thought of in the physical sense that when you think about a limitation, it's about a boundary. It's a boundary box.
Right.
And that's required to hold matter together. That does not mean that by having matter held together, that's a level of consciousness. You can go consciousness beyond matter. You can go consciousness beyond limitations. And now you're getting into the spiritual domain.
Correct.
But
That's the
far as
process of creation.
Yeah, but then again, you could argue that what is the one thing in this world that is utterly spiritual? We are in possession of one thing that is completely and utterly spiritual, and that is the Torah. Even though it is a physical parchment, it is highly spiritual. And there are Mefarshim that state that the Sefer Torah, the Torah that was given to us on Har Sinai, was created 2,000 in our version, in our words, years prior to creation. So here we have something that is spiritual within the physical domain. And we also know that when Moshe Rabbeinu came down with the original Sifrei Torah and he smashed them on the ground, Hashem said Yash Koach. And he said Yash Koach because the realization at that moment was that what Moshe came down with, we were not ready as a people to accept. And it was an entirely different Sefer Torah. Yes, it included what we have that you learn from every Monday and Thursday and Shabbos, but it had other aspects of it that we will only know when Mashiach comes. So when you look at all these things and you combine them and you say, what? This, I'm sorry, again, with all due respect, to say that this is the only physicality? No. First of all, there's other forms of physicality, and that's what we're learning with the Arizal. The various forms of constriction. Think about all the various layers that we have to go through, not us, but this world has to go through to get to the physicality of what we are. So who's to say there isn't some other plane that goes through 5 as opposed to 7 or 10?
That what?
That there is not some other domain where the constriction goes through 5 levels as opposed to 10 or 7.
You mean somewhere else? Not our channel. There's another channel. We got Atzilus B'Yetzias. There's another channel that has Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Whatever, all that.
Mo, Larry, and Curly.
And for me, I can only speak for Rudy Vogel. By me holding on to this thought, to me, it's ethereal. To me, it just speaks to the absolute infinity. It creates a plane of thought that it is so inspiring because you know that you're now occupying a portion of Hashem's vastness by believing what I'm saying, by believing that this is the only physicality that frankly speaking, I find that rather depressing.
Do you believe this is the only physicality, Rabbi?
What?
This world we know is the only physicality?
The world, our universe, okay, I'm including all the entire universe. Alpha Centauri, and so on, all the galaxies here, according to Kabbalah and Arizal. I'm not saying what I believe, I'm not saying from what I'm imagining. This is the only creation. It says Hashem created worlds and destroyed them. There's medrash like that. Yes, those are the spiritual levels. Those all refer to all the spiritual levels that we learn about and contained within that. And the Olam HaTohu, we had the world of chaos, which was which was too much perfection. All these things that we talk about worlds, they're all spiritual. Let me finish. They're all spiritual, and B, it's all in a line or in a sphere, concentric spheres, however you want to describe it, leading with this world being the end point. This is the bottom of creation. This is the end. Another thing. That's one thing that's based over here. Secondly, as far as Torah, we are the only ones with Torah. So theoretically, if there's a consciousness on a planet, and a million light years away, they don't have. If there's a consciousness, if there's a life form, they don't have Torah. We always talk about life in science. There's life on other planets, and you always imagine these it's a very advanced civilization that comes in with their ray guns, but you never think maybe it's just a bunch of mushrooms, and that's it. That's very possible too. We send them our in the spaceship. We send up with the vinyl records and the record player that they can play.
So Rudy, I think you have the right idea as to do not limit something that it's by definition, or if any, limitless, correct? On the other hand, it's okay to be wrong. Maimonides writes that Earth is the center of the solar system because that was the knowledge at the time. He didn't have the vision. He just repeat other people's knowledge, correct? And it's okay to be wrong.
He was the scientist of the time, yeah.
There was an article written in Ber HaTorah. I may even have it. Ber HaTorah is a Torah science publication that started coming out maybe 30, 40 years ago. And I have a number of them here. There is an article about the center of the universe, and very interesting. These are all top scientists. I will say I wasn't able to follow the article, but he says that the center can have many different definitions. There can be many different ways as a center. We think of it in very simple and lateral terms, linear terms. We think of it in very linear terms, but it can get much more complicated.
Yeah, and now it's agreed. It's Long Meadow. So
yeah, here's another thing. Okay, we now live in the age of the information age, the age of the internet. Right? We live in the age of cyberspace. Look at this. We're all convening in a virtual plane. I just know that you're where you're seated because I presume that you are where you're seated. But for all I know, you could be elsewhere, right? And they're now within this area called financial technology or fintech. They're creating assets that are virtual. Figure that one out.
Destroying them
now,
and
if I
selling
told you
them.
that 5 years ago. Yeah, if I told you that 5 years ago, you would have said I'm a drunken sailor. That's so now.
And if you know that people are paying $500,000 for it.
$500,000? Look up Beeple. Beeple. Did you ever hear Beeple?
Did that guy ever
There's an
find his
artist.
password?
There's an artist by the name of Beeple. 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 Okay. He created a montage. He's an artist. He created a montage that's 20 seconds long. It's virtual. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
A 20-second montage that's virtual.
And they're selling them for
$2 million. So
there is hope for you, Rudy. All your art.
no, but my point is that again, I hear you. I respect the opinions and all that, and I'm always saying that there's another way of looking at things. There's just never one way of looking at something, and we know that because we're very fortunate. We have fast in the Torah. So to say to me that something is hard and fast, what's hard and fast is Hashem Elokim, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Echad, right? Hashem Eloheinu, Hashem Echad. That's hard and fast. No disputing that. Everything else, open for discussion. Excepting, of course, like things like kashrus, but that's based on belief, Shabbos. I mean, all the things that we practice, the thou shalts. But beyond that, I mean, when we get into this discussion, I think we have to have more open minds. And I'm not saying us. I think we as a collective here, our minds are very open. But at least that's my opinion.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Some things related on my mind. I don't know if you guys have been following like the last, I think, 2 months. The news that's going on with what we call UFOs.
Yep.
From the who is it? The Air Force pilots, like very experienced Air Force pilots.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of declassified documents coming out.
Declassified documents, and the head of like the Israeli Air Force industry or something
Mhm.
said that there is stuff, they just haven't gone public because the people can't take it, but there's definitely they have, I guess, very hard evidence. So the newspaper article about it said the aliens have, yeah, they've reached out to the aliens for comment and they haven't gotten back to them yet. After that article,
Maybe
But
that's where
that-
COVID came from.
They should have
Was
called
that?
they should have
That's
called
what
the aliens
COVID
publicists first.
so anyway, so that's some like fascinating things. And then I just, while we're talking here, I did a little Googling. I didn't find the article I wanted, but I Googled 4 constants in the universe. And that might, I didn't see what I was looking for, but you might find, it's interesting stuff. There's, basically I think there are 4 numbers that in the universe that have to be exactly where they are, or the universe wouldn't exist. And just the only one I remember was gravity. So gravity is at a certain level of how much mass, how much gravity mass, how much the force is on each unit of gravity or whatever. And you'd think if that was just a drop off, we wouldn't have the orbits. We wouldn't be around the sun. So that was one number. Then I think there's like an upper radiation and a lower radiation, or a higher radiation and a lower level of radiation. Those are 2 more. I don't remember what the 4th one was. But you think all these little things, all these had to slip into place within the first fraction of a fraction of the Big Bang, or of the beginning of creation. So that was one article. I say if you Google, you'll find some more things. There was an article, I think also last week. I didn't send it to this group. I sent it to someone else. There's they got somewhere or other they got a piece they think might be the building block of creation. It's 1/1,000,000th of a proton. 1/1,000,000th of a proton, and that's the smallest that they just, I guess they just were able
It's pretty
to
small.
get. No one else saw that article?
Who found that?
No, but there's all kinds of things going on in CERN. In
1 minute. Some kids playing on the beach in France. Just joking.
There's
A
all
millionth
kinds
of a proton is not very small, because we have particles that are smaller than that.
Smaller than that?
Electrons are smaller than that.
A what?
Electrons are much smaller than a proton.
Mm,
But
Are we
million?
watching?
no,
You're watching-
18,
yeah, I don't know.
almost 2,000 times. So it's just this 2,000 times smaller.
You were watching the old Cosmos just last night, and
Sagan.
he said that he said that he considers electronic, think of them as just fluff. Just fluff. You can hear him say it, fluff.
Yeah,
Have you ever
he moves his hands like that.
Chaim, have you ever seen the series Cosmos? It's on YouTube. It's old, but it's good.
Carl
It's
Sagan.
very, very interesting. He goes through the history.
Carl Sagan. a
Yeah.
Jew.
Yeah, he
Okay.
made a reference to something Jewish in this last. We were watching episode 4. I can't remember what it was.
Billions and billions of stars.
Totally atheistic or whatever he is, but he teaches you the history. So
So in the new series, Neil deGrasse, who co-wrote the script with Sagan's widow, the latest wife, and it was very condescending to any religion, saying, "Oh, poor dudes, they think there is a God. We scientists, we know everything, and we don't." So I saw that. I did not watch it again.
yeah,
I know that the dude itself is not that condescending or arrogant, but we don't own the truth. We don't know the truth. We're looking for it, but we don't know it. So I was very disappointed on that.
I think a great piece of news that came out in the last couple of days was Mossad hacked into a nuclear plant in Iran and destroyed that. So
No, they wouldn't do that.
Surprised they haven't done it before.
Somebody else did it.
does that mean that Iran's going to have to return the $3 billion that the Biden administration just gave them, or? Just wondering. Curious. Inquiring minds would like to know.
Jim, we can't hear you.
He's muted, yeah.
You're muted,
Jim,
Jim.
we can't.
They're
hear
going
you.
to add that to the Palestinian 350
Yeah.
billion that's going to the terrorist families, and we're going to have a whole hell to pay for walking for Jews around the universe.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys still have the ability to follow politics at this point.
No, I mean, 350 million going to PLO
Yeah.
to pay terrorist families,
Yeah.
and to line the pockets of the slime balls.
So by all this, you mean like restoring the deal with Iran? Is that what
No.
you?
The Biden administration in the past week has freed up $350 or $335 million to go to the PLO,
UNRWA.
who can use the money in any way they want. And one of the ways they use it is to pay for the families of terrorists who kill Jews.
Who do
Period.
they say?
Martyrs.
Well, they probably don't say they
Right.
PLO. Who do
They
say?
pay terrorist families. It's part of the.
No, it's-
They give them annuities.
It's an entity called UNRWA, and it's part of the PLO, and they're getting 350 million. They already got it last week.
Yeah.
So
They got it last
watch
week.
what-
Yeah.
Watch what happens. There's going to be more terrorist acts now,
Yeah.
because that's how they get money. They have to blow themselves up, and then the families get the money.
Right. For life.
So
Mhm.
nicht gut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And we're still live?
Yeah,
Me?
we're still live.
I
Oh, I should have set the
Yeah,
Facebook.
you should have cut the.
That's okay.